The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from eXp's top-producing icon agents? If you are an ambitious eXp agent ready to skyrocket your business, this podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomas Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your eXp business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Icons of Real Estate Podcast. With us today, we have Stefani and Luis Rosario. They are our first domestic icon team coming on the show. Operating from Charleston, they joined eXp in February 2021, and in just 9 months, they reached the Holy Grail icon status. They're just getting started. The two of them form the Rio Group, which is bound to be an empire. Welcome to the show, Stefani and Luis.
Hey, thank you, Tomas. Thanks for welcoming us, and hope you're having a great day. I know we're having a fantastic day.
Absolutely.
Yes, I appreciate you accepting my invitation, and really looking forward to this. So usually we start with your real estate journey. So please spare no details. I know you are too. So if like each of you can give us a little story, like we'll be pleased.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
Awesome.
Do you want to start with the domestic
I think I'll let her go first.
Gentlemen.
Okay, well, yeah. So we are part of a domestic team, and what that means in eXp is you would be legally married. The cool thing about that is that you share all of your caps. So there's a $16,000 cap, and that would be shared. And then once you enter to your $16,000 cap, there is a $250 per transaction charge up until $5,000. You share that as well. Once you hit that $5,000, you icon together. So easy peasy, it works perfectly. It's wonderful.
Nice. I appreciate the clarification. I think everyone knows what is that now, but what I was asking now is more of your journey. How did you become a realtor? What did you do before? Why did you join eXp? Something like that.
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and talk about a little bit about that. So for me, it started all in my household with me. I wanted to move down here to South Carolina, contact a realtor, and he calls me in the middle of the night, and he's like, "Hello," and I'm like, "Yeah, I would like to buy a house down there." So he's like, "Oh." I looked at my wife and I was like, "Hey, hang up that phone. That ain't a realtor that I want to deal with." So we called another one, and he was pleasurable. So long story short, he sold us a house here that we wanted. And all of a sudden, he turns his office manager turns around and says, "Hey, you're gonna be a good realtor." I looked at him and at her and I said, "You guys make no money." And I just proceeded to just erase that out of my head. And I came from the corporate world with the Dunkin' Donuts in the North East. I was a director over there with Dunkin' Donuts. And did that for 13 years and got tired of it. So I wanted to retire to warm weather, and we landed here in South Carolina. But they kept on asking me, "Hey, I think you're going to be a great realtor." And since I was going to their church, I couldn't escape them. And then they just put that in my mind, and I finally gave in. And I'm like, "Okay, so what do you got to do?" And they're like, "You got to go to class. You got to go to school." And I'm like, "No." So I avoided them for another while, but then that's how the journey started. I finally said yes, and started. And in 10 days, right after I got my license, I sold my first house. 10 days, and then 14 days later, I sold the next house and put it on the contract. And I said to I was like, the team leader at that time. So I started with a team, and he said, "Hey, you're going to sell about 30, 35 homes." And I said, "No, I don't think so. I'm going to sell 5 to 7 homes." And he looked at me like, "Then why you're in here?" Anyway, I ended up selling 35 homes that first year. I was with a team for 2 years, And until we moved over, found out that I was a rock star agent, selling the second year 71 homes. So I moved on from the team, ended up joining Remax for 6 hot days. They did not have what I needed. So I credit them from pulling me away from a team structure so I could have, and I could start real estate on my own. I was still scared of it, and ended up from Remax to a local company called Agent Owned. Lasted 3 weeks because EXP calls me up and says, "Hey, we want you." And we're like, "Who the heck are you?" and I ended up talking to them, and like everything else, I always say no at the beginning, like 5 times. But EXP got me, and we haven't looked back since then. And joined EXP. My wife saw that I was working hard and decided to join in real estate last year. And before 6 months, she already had 10 homes sold. And I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute, I brought you in and you're stealing my clients."
No, she's the rock star. She's the rock star.
I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute." I'm like, I see what it is. It's beauty. It's beauty because I don't got none. So
of course.
So yeah, so that's where the journey has begun. It's been a fun ride. This year so she came in and we decided with the EXP formed that domestic team instead of a standard team that we could have. And yeah, and we're just doing it that way.
Nice. So Stefani, what did you do before joining the real estate team?
I was in the medical and dental field. I did a lot of the office management and administrative work. And then for a few years, I was home with the kids. And like I said, I was just being his support before I got my license. And then I saw he's doing so much work there. It could only get better if I can get my license. And so I did, and it's just taken off from there.
She wanted to cut into my profits.
It's sharing is caring. So guys, tell us a bit about the process since you joined the EXP and the path that you took to reach the icon status. Like, for example, what do you think it was key to make that happen?
Well, the key to our success is really communication. So we boast ourselves in communicating as much as possible with our clients. When they're buying a home, especially first-time homeowner, they need good communication whenever they need it. So it's almost like 24/7, and most realtors that I hear about, they say, "Hey, I'm only going to work like 12 hours, 5 days a week." So it becomes a 12/5. And I have gotten many clients that say, "Hey, I'm ditching my realtor because one of them, this is a true story. Client calls me and says, 'I'm ditching my realtor. I heard of you. My realtor just told me I'm in the Wando River on the boat and I'm not coming out to show your home.'" So they call me and I made sure, like, "Hey, do you even have agency?" They said no. I'm like, "Oh, wow." So I said, "All right, go show you the home." We put the home on the contract that same day. So, I learned the lesson, not on my expense, but on another realtor's expense, that, when a client is ready to go, I know we got things to do and we're busy, you find a way to get that home shown to them if they're ready to buy. And that's not the first one that I have. I got a couple of them even this year. So communication, and then the relationship piece of it, forming that relationship during and even after has been key for our business to be able to icon. So I didn't know if that was going to be possible, but when you join EXP, they tell you it's very, very possible. And if you tell me that something is possible, I'm going to make sure that I get there. So it's like a wrestler. I mean, you get me down and you're like, you pin me down and it's over at 3 count. I'm like, I get up in the 2.5 count. Like, I'm up. So that's our success. Communication and relationship is big and it's key in our real estate process.
Nice. And I just want to put a pin on that communication parts, because obviously, like, you can go to the river, right, and have like a family time, fun time. I think it's all about the reaction that you do to the client, like, oh, I'm now at the river, I'm fishing, but I'll have my partner call you in 5 minutes and show you the house in 10, or something like that, or I'll go there myself because my partner is not available anymore. So I think like when you're saying that is more about our perspective when a client calls, right?
Right. No, it's really important. I mean, like there was a few times that we did business trips to other states and even out of the country, and we're not gonna not go, right? Because it's also educating us and also giving us time of refreshment. But we always make sure that we have a team there ready to assist those clients, because we're right now in a market that it cannot wait a few hours. It can't even wait a day. So
yeah. And even first home buyers, they're like crying babies. They like,
you have to handhold them for sure.
They want the milk, like they have to get the milk, or they'll go crying to some other realtor.
Absolutely.
And yeah, guys, you did all that while parenting 5 beautiful children, right? And that's impressive because, like, I find it funny because sometimes people come here and they say like, oh, I'm an icon agent and I have a kid, and they put that like the highest standard, Well, you guys have 5. So are you just waiting for your kids to grow up so they can become EXP agents, right?
Yeah, we actually have one that's going to be 17, and he says as soon as I turn 18, I'm getting my license. So he'll be
Oof, that's impressive.
finishing high school, but having his license. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. Growing the team that way. So in these past 9 months, one thing that we talk about here a lot, which is very important, is the lead generation. And for example, you told me last month in December 2021, you had 14 closings. Can we get just a gist, or where did those closings come from?
Well, a lot of those closings came from referrals. The rest was really past clients. I do a lot of the military help here, where military personnel relocation and things like that. They buy a home and all of a sudden they get called, hey, you got to go ahead and get, you got to reassign or something. So past clients, and I always tell every new agent and seasoned agent is, hey guys, you also got to start growing your business by paying into your business and getting lead generation. With EXP, we get some of that lead generation if you work it through KVcore, and you got to always work that. But I tell everyone, if you're going to start and grow your business in real estate, you got to spend a little bit and get a return on your investment. And that's by buying leads from wherever you're going to buy the leads, and work your SOI. Your sphere of influence is very important. You got to make those calls. They're going to feel like cold calls, but you got to make those calls and establish the communication and stay top of mind of your friends, including coworkers in the past. You got to stay at top of mind because they're all going to buy or sell at some point. And usually that number right now is about between 2 to 5 years. After they bought their property, the new property, they're already thinking in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years for selling and buying new property. So if you know that piece of information, you will stay on top of mind with your SOI, calling them every so often and reaching out to them.
Exactly. And you just use KVcore to keep track of that information, or do you use any other platform?
So when I was spoiled when I first came into real estate, because I went straight to a team, and I was taught how to use the CRM, and you need a CRM to be organized. You need a CRM to go ahead and send campaigns for you. It's just a great tool. For those who are not an EXP, you're definitely going to have to buy it. I used to use Real Geeks, and I did love that one. But now that I'm EXP and you get it with your $89 a month that you pay, you get your CRM. I say use it to its fullest extent and get used to it. Get used to it, because that is going to be your biggest money maker, keeping everything on track for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, you got to use what's on the table, right? If you join EXP and they put you like all these new tools and marketing tools, like you got to use it. Like you'll be done if you did it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, and that program alone on steroids, when you buy it, like you could use KVcore without being an EXP, but you're going to pay anywhere between 4 to 5, and I think it's more closely to 500 a month.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just got to get a good CRM.
Yeah, definitely. And how about in terms of lead generation? How about your social media efforts? Have you seen any contacts coming from that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. For me, Facebook has worked very, very well. You have to be active on it. I get a lot of phone calls, and I ask me, and how do you do it? You know, how do you get all these leads? You know, and it's basically you have to post things continually. You just can't do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then drop off the face of the earth or the face of Facebook or anywhere. You know, it's just not Facebook. You want to be in all platforms of Facebook, the Instagram, TikTok, which right now is also turning into a lot of commercial promoting your business. You want to be in there. LinkedIn, very powerful tool as well. You want to be there and just participate. You'll be able to not only advertise your business, but meet other realtors that are also going to give you referrals back and forth. I mean, from all over the states.
You have to be very present because your brand is what people will recognize when they think real estate. Oh, wait, Luis. So when you have that known brand, but that good known brand, that's how you also, you know, you'll always be top of mind.
Yeah, I like that expression about being present. And even now with the metaverse, like we don't know what's going to happen, right? So like we just got to be present there, be present where things happen. And I check your guys' social medias, and you don't have that much big of a follower base. So it's impressive. If it doesn't have to be thousands and thousands to show results, right?
Right. That's correct. It doesn't have to be thousands upon thousands. So, and that's what impresses me. You know, now this year we're going to be focusing on building that a little bit to see what it does. And what it does is I believe that it will keep people engaged a little bit more and hopefully produce some more business out of there. If not, it's just building the brand outside of the Charleston area that we're in.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, talking about the building that brand, the Rio brand, right? So we have heard here on the Icons of Real Estate podcast of people that had ginormous or whatever that were these teams that and told us how did they create them, the full process, and all the blah blah blahs. We all heard about it, but I think it will be equally beneficial to hear from you and share your insight, like. Because you're kind of at ground zero of creating your own team. So can you let us know a bit about your plan and how are you going to make your empire happen?
Good.
Well, well, see, a part of branding isn't just for per se the business clientele, buyers, sellers, but it's also to show those other realtor agents that are either coming into the business new or in other brokerages, number one, the benefits of EXP, and number two, how not only we want a team to grow our business, but how it helps their business. So we're connecting a lot. We're doing different lunch and learns and events to connect with the people to show the value that we can bring to their business and how we can collaborate together to grow our businesses. So we already have a few agents coming on, and we're working on that moving forward.
Nice. That's impressive because even recruiting, of course, like you don't like just giving out the perks of EXP is not enough because they can join any EXP team and they'll be getting that perks, right? Like
that's right.
You'll have to promote the perks that the Rio Group offers. So like, do you have any plans on that? Like, how do you plan on training them and leading them to success?
Also tell them about impact.
All right, so we with Rio Group, we belong to a group called Impact Worldwide, and they started with Shelly Johnson, and she's out of North Carolina. We have in that Impact Worldwide over 3,000 agents, experienced agents that come from all kind of brokerages, whether it be Remax, Coldwell Banker, just big. Keller Williams, another one. So when we recruit, they get directly access to all these agents, and also the group is connected straight to the top of EXP. We're connected straight to the top with the top agents in EXP. So any new recruits will be able to learn from them. We do have training every week, about 2 or 3 times, live Zooms, things like that. And plus what EXP also offers. So there's never a lack of training. Now, what I do is I like to hold hands. I just love it. So any new recruit, I go ahead personally mentor them and whatever they need. And when I don't know something, I make sure that I get what they need, because let's face it, we don't know everything, but I like to point people in the right direction. I want to give them a solid foundation. So when they're out there and they're rock stars, they're confident in what they're doing, and they'll be able to create their own empire. I get really, really happy when I see people growing and producing and starting their own empire, that I could sit back in my chairs like, oh, yeah, I know that person. I'll tell you a little bit story. Brian Casella, when I first started in real estate, they told me, hey, don't listen to that guy, Brian Casella. He was in Cali and I was down here in Charleston. But it was something about him I kept listening, because I watched one of his videos and he was pissed off that he sold 15 homes. I believe he was a Keller Williams at the time. 15 homes. And I was like, why is this dude screaming that he sold 15 homes? If I was to sell 15 homes in my first year, I'll be happy about it. Well, I kept listening to him. And the other thing he taught me through his videos, because I didn't speak to him until now that he's at EXP. I haven't met him yet, but I've spoken to him and told him I was going to visit in Miami, and that couldn't materialize. That was supposed to be in June. But anyway, he put that fire on me that if he was upset with 15 homes, there was something to it. So I ended up selling 35 homes because of the fire that he put on me through his videos, through the door knocking. Now, California has way more people than Charleston, like 10 times probably more people. And he's doing door knocking because it works for him over there, although a lot of agents won't do that. Well, I started doing it, and my team leader says, why are you doing that? That doesn't work. Well, I farmed almost my whole entire neighborhood, 143 homes. I sold 5 homes in here in the first year. So I get a gratitude and really happy when I see other agents that other people have told them, hey, you can't do it this way. I go ahead and cheer you on and just let you know, hey, anything is possible that you put your mind into and that you're focused, you will get results. And if it doesn't work, hey, let's move on to something else.
Nice. So Brian Casella is actually looking at you and thinking the same that you're thinking about when you mentor your agents as well. And yeah, as I think I told you, Brian has already been on the podcast before. So yeah, maybe nice. I'll swoop you an introduction so you can get the relationship back on and materialize that meeting. I think it will be very good, and we'll be happy to be icons relating with icons. This is what we want. We want to create this networking space.
That's right. Sounds great. That would be great.
Yeah. So actually, we're not approaching. We are at the beginning of the year, right? 2022. And how are your projections for this year? Let me hear them.
All right. So projection for this year, we are to be solid at 80 to 100 properties being sold for this year, surpassing what we did this year. This is the first year on our own, just as the domestic team, split away from teams and so forth. And we did pretty good on our own with 60 homes sold. And I think that's a great one, for our start. So as we go along the year, with the buyers we already got lined up and sellers coming, I put a house in the market just last night. And I got another one coming out at the end of the week. We're just doing projections, should be about 80 homes a year. This is a faster start for us than the year before.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, it'll be exponential. Like it will be a slow start, but you'll get there, and you get there, you can't slow down.
Exactly.
That's right.
And right now, what is the thing that is struggling you the most for you to expand your business?
Well, I think that the struggling for us is getting more lunch and learns together, moving a little bit slow on that, and also getting on top of phone calls every single morning. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was another success of mine. But it's been, and since the holiday, somewhere October around there, it's just been a little bit of challenge. So we got to get back on I got to get back on the phone calls and just touching base with clients. And that is a game changer. If you do that, your business is going to stay afloat if you make those phone calls. And I think that's for everyone nowadays. The other one for sale by owners, I would recommend, including new agents, is stay on top of calling for sale by owners.
And you just, what you usually do here, you just have to look at those struggles and write it down, and then set objectives on how to beat them. And then you have your whole year planned, and this is how you reach your goals. Like you kill your struggles and you go after the money. and yeah, so before we say our goodbyes, is there any piece of advice that you would like to share with us, Stefani or Luis, whoever feels more inspired?
I think I'm going to go right back to the beginning, is have great communication, develop those relationships, not only with your clients, but with other realtors. Don't be a jerk. I always say this, that even when you're doing the deal, you're on the contract, you are on an interview with that agent. And likewise, that agent is in an interview with you. So you want to make sure that you have the smoothest and best possible transaction, because agents do fall in love with other agents, and they're going to think of you if they need anything and remember you. So that's one thing. And don't be afraid to invest your money in real estate to get more business. That's it.
Nice. That's a nice advice there. And I guess one of the most important questions here is, how can our audience reach you?
Well, the audience can always reach me on Instagram. They can reach me on Facebook. And I don't know them by the top of my head, those, how, where to reach me. But my phone number is 843-817-2254. They can find me as Luis Rosario in Facebook. Instagram is going to be Luis Rosario Real Group _EXP Realty. Same thing as Facebook is going to be Luis Rosario _ the Realtor. One of the things that I go by a lot, my taglines is the Realtor you know.
Can you say it again? Sorry.
The Realtor you know.
The retail, you know. Okay, okay.
The realtor, you know, yeah, that's my motto. I use that in everywhere, tag it everywhere. But yeah, those are the ways you can find me. And yeah, and if somebody wants to follow me on TikTok, like I said, it is L Rosario _ realtor. You can find me there. I do a lot of the funny videos just to keep people engaged. And yeah, you get to know me there.
I have one
Nice.
last thing we didn't mention is that we're bilingual. So we are fluent in Spanish, and that opens up a whole nother door and a whole bracket of clientele that others that only have one language that they can communicate with.
Great. So all the Spanish here, struggling with English, you can call the realtor you know and Stefani and speak Spanish. And yeah, and don't worry about the links. I'll add the links into the description so it's easy for everyone. And yeah, I hope this episode actually turned out great. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.